man. V, how you doing today, V? What's good?
I'm doing well, man. It was rainy and then it's sunny and now
All
it's
right.
back. It's like gray. I wanted it to be rainy all day. You know what I mean? Because it's been so hot and so sunny for the last like 3 days that I was like, just give us a little rain.
Hey, man, more rain means more viewers for us, too. And you know what? The Raptors won last night. The NBA is back. All is good in the world. We're slowly getting back, guys. But still stay safe out there because coronavirus is still a thing, last time I checked.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah. So this is the Humblist. Thank you for joining us on your Sunday afternoon, giving us some time. We have a packed episode today.
Packed.
So packed. So we're just going to jump right into it. Today we're going to be talking about women who empower. We also have a very special guest. Abithi's here with us. And we got some details about a contest and future contests coming up that we're going to be talking about later on at the end of the show.
Amazing.
V, women who empower, man, that's such a vague, giant thing. Where do we go with this? How do we even begin? Are we even in a position to talk about this sort of stuff?
That's what I was gonna say, man. Is like we're not obviously we are males, so we're coming from a male perspective, but at the same time, we're so thankful to have amazing women in our community who are impacting and inspiring other women. We've been following some of the stories. That's why we're bringing in a few guests like Abithi. That's why we have Jody on board to really give, what it is like to be a woman in the industry. And I think, it's just we want to put that disclaimer out that, this is coming from male perspectives, and we encourage everyone who's to get involved. And if you're a female, if you're male, just chime in.
Yeah, I think we're on the age of education right now. Like we're all learning a little bit more with the social justice movements and reforms, the Me Too movements, and just educating ourselves with the virus out there. Like we are in an era of enlightenment right now, so we're trying to do our part here and shine a little bit of love. And have an episode focused around some of the ladies in the industry because they are massive contributors. So we could go anywhere with this. I mean, there's a whole lot of artists that we can talk about. I know Taylor Swift was a big one. Rihanna, Lizzo is another one. Lady Gaga. Who else you got be on your list?
Oh, I got tons, man. Alicia Keys and the work she's done with AIDS and supporting families and specifically women who have AIDS and, like all across the world. So shout outs to her. And then Aretha Franklin, the queen of soul, and those anthems like R.E.S.P.E.C.T. and You Make Me Feel, right? Like you can't forget about her and all the work she's done with the civil rights movement. And let's not forget about if we're talking about the queen of art and pop like Kate Bush and how she paved the way for women in pop music in the 80s. And maybe we'll talk about her a little bit more in a future episode. Like we got the 80s episode, so we got her. And then you mentioned Taylor Swift, and she was the woman of the decade last year from Billboard, and how she just stands up to people in business and music executives, and just comes from this like non-egoic attitude and just really, really down to earth and all the change she's done. So you
can go anywhere. There's one that just came to me as we're talking right now. Nancy Sinatra with her Boots Are Made for Walking. That was an anthem too, right? That was one of the first ever really empowering songs for women that I can remember in my life, where it really felt like, hey, taking ownership of yourself and say, this is what I'm going to do. These boots are made for walking.
Right. And Janis Joplin, first female rock star. But before we go on, Dante, let's shout out the group, right? Because
sure. Yeah,
we have like we said, packed show. We want to really make sure we get the female perspective on this, but we can't go on without shouting out the group and giving some love. So Kevin, he mentioned Yvette Young, who is a local artist, and he had the luxury of playing a show with her at Sneaky D's. So nice. Thanks, Kevin. Yeah, and Bones was shouting out Mimona. I'm probably pronouncing it wrong, but Mimona Youssef. And she's done work with the Roots and done work on stuff with Common. And she's been part of the Tiny Desk series. And she's just powerful voice. Yeah, so check her out. Karen shouted out the Dixie Chicks. And interesting story about the Dixie
Absolutely.
Chicks. They dropped the Dixie from their name because of everything that's been going on with social justices, and Dixie is the area in the south of the state. So specifically,
they're just the Chicks now.
They're just the Chicks. There you go. So because that had ties with the Confederate region of the states. Yeah, very interesting.
I did not know that. Yeah.
Well, there you go. And Ed, shout outs for had a shout out for Sarah James Furlong. It seems like an artist in the industry as well. And Paul, he was the one who gave me the idea for my person that I'm relating to a bit, and the person that I brought with Laura Jane Grace. So shout out to everyone in the group. Thank you for bringing, the comments and everything that you have. It's really appreciated. And I think it's we're good to move on. What do you say?
Yeah, no, it's good. That's great engagement. We love to see it, and we love to see more of it. And guys, please keep the comments coming there. So yeah, there's a couple of people that we want to just shed a little light on. I mean, we all know these big names that we just rattled off here. We all know these people. We hear them all the time in the news. So we were just getting some light to some other people that maybe not get so much shine. So the artist that I want to focus on is someone named Mary Lambert. Okay. Mary Lambert, I don't know if you've heard of her before. I mentioned it to you, V, but she actually wrote the hook for the Same Love song from Macklemore and Ryan Lewis. It was a Grammy-nominated track for her, and it really put her on the map. So that's where I kind of got my inspiration. She's very positive in the LGBTQT community, as well as her own body positive image. She's got a song called She Keeps Me Warm. And this is sort of the complementary song to Same Love by Macklemore, whereas Same Love is sort of the perspective of the male relationship. This is the perspective of a female relationship.
Is it like kind of like Eminem and Dido had that track? Is it like Macklemore took from the hook of that? Is that right?
I think so. Although I think the Same Love came first. She definitely said that there's elements of that song that they're related, 100%. So that's a good connection there, V, most definitely.
Yeah.
But she grew up in a Pentecostal Christian church. She taught herself how to play guitar. She taught herself how to play piano, and she had to get over all this sort of additional negative energy with respect to drug and alcohol abuse, molestation, objectification, even going so far as suicide attempts. This girl's been through the ringer.
Wow.
But to see her now, and to see how positive she is now, to see how supportive she is in her community, when she does a concert, this is a place to be vulnerable, a place to cry, a place to be loved, and a place to feel accepted. And just when I was reading up on her, I just got the overwhelming sense of comfort, and that this girl is just here to make everything feel all right and share her own story. So she blew me away. I strongly suggest you guys to check her out, Mary Lambert. She's just getting started, this girl, and I feel like she's going to make some more noise.
Yeah, no, that's a great find. And I remember those songs, and I think they performed together at the Grammys.
That's right.
That was a pretty powerful performance. And I think, it's great that, she's bringing light to the movement. And I think we'll definitely keep an eye on her.
Well, most definitely. Where'd you go with this?
Yeah, on my side. And I want to thank Paul again from the group. He actually was the one who brought Laura Jane Grace to my attention and to our attention.
Now, let me just preface this. So, compared to Mary Lambert, who's more of a poppy hip hop style, Laura Jane Grace, she's completely different style of music. Is that right? Yeah,
punk band from Against Me, and it's. I think that's where the whole empowered. Sentiments and the impact is so much is because she transitioned from a male to a trans woman in 2012, at the age of 31. So imagine, going that long into your life. She had what is called gender dysphoria, which is where there's a mismatch between how you identify your gender and where you were assigned sexually. And she had that at birth, and she had that all throughout her life as a kid growing up. And so again, similar sentiments in the sense of suicidal thoughts, just not understanding, confusion, right? And as she transitioned, she decided to transition in the public eye, which is so brave and so courageous, with especially being in a punk band. And to the punk band's credit, to Against Me's credit, they were so supportive of her. They were so supportive of her, even when her father wasn't, like, they don't have like a great relationship, her and her father. Mm-hmm. But the band really supported her. And even though she wasn't, and she mentioned transitioning is a process. And even though she wasn't fully along in her transition, she wanted to make the statement and be there for other people who are going through that. She was inspired by a transgendered fan who shared something with her, and that's how she was able to transition. Really powerful. And I know in my own journey, I'm not, obviously not the same context, but in terms of when your body's going through changes and you don't know what's going on, and you're dealing with that emotional side of things, that's what really gripped me about the story.
Interesting. So what, the Transgender Dysphoria Blues, is that a song, or is that the album?
That's the album that Against Me put out. Yeah. Okay. And I guess obviously it's inspired by her journey.
Most definitely. She's putting it right out there. She's not making any bones about it, right? So.
No. And I think, like we were talking, you and I, about how it's such a niche topic. Like, I can relate to putting out niche music as well, right? So that's what really called to me. And she had a TV show, True Trans, that was nominated for an Emmy, because again, being very vulnerable in the public eye, right. Getting to hear others' stories, it's just a beautiful, beautiful thing. And I'm so touched by her story, and I definitely want to follow that. Do you have any other questions before we shimmy along?
No, I think that's great. So that's two people, guys, out there. So Laura Jane Grace, and Mary Lambert. So check those guys out. They're new to us, and we're learning about their stories ourselves, and we encourage you to do the same.
Check those females out.
Yeah, sorry. Did I say check those guys out? Is that what I said?
Yeah, you said check those guys out. Check those females out. Yeah.
But we want to give our next guest as much time as possible. So that's where we're kind of rushing through our own song selections now. Usually we might go through a little bit more back and forth, but we want to make sure that we give Abithi, our special guest today, enough time. So Abithi is very active in our community. She's got posts all over the time on social media, just promoting all different sorts of things. And so just through my journey during doing this with V and being alongside him when he's going through his music, that's where I met Abithi, and just seeing her at similar events. But V, you have a stronger relationship there. So can you give us a little bit of background on your relationship and how you met Abithi?
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. Every time we have like a feature or a guest, it's always so hard to remember.
You never remember how you know.
I know. But I do remember this one. Abithi I met at an open mic. I believe was Mac open mics. She's going to have to correct me if I'm wrong. But Mississauga Arts Council, shout out them. But yeah, I met her in just a positive spirit, really engaged and really supportive of other artists, which is hard to find in everyone in their own silos, and everyone's focused on their own work, but she's been so supportive of like the whole community. And
super supportive.
Yeah, and actually we're flipping the script around here. Obviously you're with me on this side, but she actually interviewed me for one of her talk shows, so it's going to be interesting to see her on the flip side of it. But I think, so much to get through. So what do you say? Should we bring her on? Okay, let's bring her on. And without further ado, here is Abithi.
Ta-da! Hey!
Welcome.
Thank you, and I'm so glad to be here. I love you guys. I mean, you've given me so much inspiration already talking about Mary Lambert and Laura Grace.
Laura Jane Grace, yeah.
Laura Jane Grace, that's amazing. But thank you so much for having me. I love Humble and Hungry.
Awesome. Thank you so much for being here for us and gracing us with your presence and joining us for this conversation today.
Thank you. And yeah, Vivek, you are right. We met at an open mic, but it was at the Little Cafe, London Little Cafe. Molly
Oh,
and
okay.
Eric, yes, yeah,
Okay. The
yeah.
Brampton in Brampton.
In Brampton, yes, yeah.
Okay, good. See, I knew I was messing it up because
You were
there's
very close, very
there's like a
close.
circuit. Like if the people that don't know that are watching, it's like there's like circuits of open mics that we all like regularly hit up, and unfortunately we can't do that now. But and there's Zaddy's open mic, and then there's the Mac open mic, and then the little Brampton. So yeah, thank you for reminding me on that.
Artists supporting artists.
Aditi, how much do you miss performing live right now?
Quite a bit, actually, because I love the audience interaction. And that happened even at the time we did the Humble and Hungry episode, in support of human trafficking.
Right.
I even changed my set, based on how the audience interacts. And I've been doing a lot of virtual shows, but it's not exactly the same feel. But hey, it's better than nothing. And I guess we have to still be careful about COVID-19. Yeah.
Most definitely. We still got to adjust and adapt. But before we get into our questions, can you give us a little bit of background about different sort of stuff that you do and some of the causes that you support?
Yes. So I have two sides to me. I'm a physician by day and an artist, and all other times a multifaceted artist. So I do support a lot of different causes passively, but actively I've supported cause for human trafficking, like with the event with Humble and Hungry. And I'm also a radio show host on Ruckus Avenue Radio. So we just did a concert supporting the same cause. I have supported cancer causes where I've contributed my time as an MC and a singer with the Canadian Cancer Society. I also love to support sick kids because I think children are our future, and there's a lot of great research that's going in there. So I do support them on a regular basis. And a final one that I support actively is causes that help us towards self-empowerment. I've been part of an Indo-contemporary dance theater company called Limitless Productions, and we do a lot of pieces on topics that are towards self-empowerment, body image, depression, mental health, and so forth. So these are some of the causes that I have been actively supporting.
So, I mean, it sounds like you got a lot on your plate there. How do you possibly balance all this and give everything its proper attention, I guess?
That's a good way to put it, like proper attention. In what I do, I first of all kind of make a bucket list of what I'm passionate about. And then it is about going to that planner. I'm still old fashioned. I do pen and paper, but I kind of prioritize my bucket list. Like, what do I do today versus what do I do tomorrow? I mean, I do have a short-term goal, maybe on a day-to-day basis, and a long-term goal as well. But for doing things day to day to be able to tackle all the different things that I do plan my day from when I wake up to when I go to bed. So I may not complete each task every single day, but it's baby steps towards a task that may be completed by the end of the week or by the end of the month.
Okay. And you think that you need that, eh? You need that structure and organization to get through everything?
For me, I do need that because I kind of tend to be a bit of a scatterbrain sometimes. So, I'm multitasking. So putting it down on paper visually works for me. I'm very much a visual person.
So, okay, I mean, part of the reason we also wanted to have you on this episode too was to see if there's any tips and advice that we can give some other people that are in your position or in our position that can help them grow their own craft. And, it seems like you're pretty adept at managing your time and everything, and that's something that we're all sort of adjusting to. So this is a good idea. I mean, I agree that sometimes having something tangible in your hand written down helps more than just having it on the screen. When I take notes on my phone, I always end up writing it on my phone, and then I write it later on a Word document, and I ended up emailing it to myself. When really, if I had like just a notepad dedicated right here on my desk, and I know my notes should be, it would maybe help me with my own organizational skills. So that's clever. So throughout this conversation, if there's any other sort of tips or little things that you've done that sort of help refine your craft, please share them with us.
Well, one more thing is be around the right people. And I mean, I'm very grateful to Humble and Hungry. I've learned over time, if you're not with the right people, like you also kind of get lost with what your long-term vision is. So my goals have changed over time because I've learned over time, what I don't want, so I can focus on what I do want. So it helps to be around the right people to guide you.
Well, it goes both ways. Like we're you're a pleasure to work with. So, it's not hard for us to have a natural dialogue, a natural synergy. So, yeah, definitely. I have a question though. Seeing as you are a professional, what advice do you give to professionals that want to tap into their creative side a little bit more, or just young artists in general?
Number one, do not be afraid to tackle it. That would be the number one thing. Like, go for it. And then you will have to come up with a game plan for it. So, for example, let me give an example for myself. So I really wanted to be a vocalist for the longest time. Yeah. But I set myself up as a physician. I put that all behind me because growing up in a South Asian, family, it's all about, okay, you need to be a doctor, engineer, so-and-so, and forget about all the arts. But then I made a game plan. I started this later on in life, and I'm like, wait, if I need to get to where I want to be professionally as a vocalist, I have to then make time for classes, connect, very important to network with the right artists who inspire you, who can guide you, like I said, a mentor. So first thing is, don't be afraid. I was initially very afraid, what if, what if I don't make it? And so forth. So doubting myself. So let go of that fear. If it is hard for you to do that on your own, then reach out to that community, the people who support you, because they will give you the encouragement. They'll give you constructive, criticism so you can improve yourself. Right. They'll guide you to where you can take those classes, whether it be for vocals or wherever you can improve on your skills. So number one is, do not be afraid to tackle it. Number two, come up with a game plan. And you have to work on that game plan every single day. Even if it means like 10 or 15 minutes each day of your time, you need to make time for it. Because if you're passionate enough to go after it, you need to make time for it. You cannot just sit back and expect the universe to reciprocate if you're not putting that effort in.
Yeah, it's got to be energy. And I think also, sorry, Dante, I'll just be quick with this. I was just going to say, changing your perceptions of success and breaking it down a bit more, right? A lot of people who are professional, they're like, oh, I can't do that because I'll never reach that level, right? But maybe it's just wetting your feet, and maybe you don't need to be the greatest singer of all time. You just, it's just start with a hobby and then, snowball from there.
Absolutely. And for me also, it has changed over time, like where I define my success to be, right? So I think the fear comes from when you're looking to define success for yourself as it applies to someone else. And that's where the fear comes. And like you exactly said, for example, when I took my first singing class, and then it was a group class, and I'm looking at all these advanced students ahead of me who are younger than me. I'm like, it's very intimidating. Even for my first dance class, I was at the very back of the class, and I was like, wait a minute, what am I doing here? Look at all these, all these advanced dancers. I'm never going to make it. But then I realized maybe exactly like you said, Vivek, it's not about, I want to be the number one dancer in the world. I want to be the number one vocalist in the world. To me, it came down to what can I, give back to the community or to myself through this passion of mine. And when I redefine that to be happiness, like a balance of happiness and being able to live your life on earth, then it was easier. That fear was like out the window. And then you just take baby steps one day at a time. You do need to have a game plan. I do say that, but need to know what is your passion for yourself, not for someone else.
100%.
That's
Dante, you had
interesting.
some, yeah.
Yeah, you're talking about like getting over your fear when you're taking these classes and stuff. How important to you do you think those classes are in terms of like formal training and people with experience speaking? As an aspiring artist, should I be looking up these webinars and stuff like that? Like, how important is that?
You will have to decide for yourself. That is really the answer, because you may not need those formal classes, to be one-on-one. Maybe you'll just benefit from group classes because probably you already have some inherent skills and talent that you just need to build upon.
Okay.
For me, I did need those one-on-one because I found when I did first of all, try to learn on my own. Second, trying to do some, group sessions. It was not taking me where I wanted to be. I was kind of stalling, coming to a plateau. So for me personally, I did need them initially. And then once I took off, now I can say, okay, now I probably just need some virtual sessions or just some guidance, like a mentor guiding me. So you will have to decide for yourself what is that you need. Probably you already have the skill set and you just need a little bit of a nudge, which means maybe just networking with the right people who are in a similar game plan as yours. So look up to people who are similar to your passion, and they can probably guide you. Or maybe you're like me, if you do need those formal classes.
B, what do you think? Do you think that, like, what's your take on classes and webinars? I know you've sort of upped your game recently.
Yeah, I mean, it can be overwhelming, right? Because there's so many things, like being an independent artist. It's like you're like, especially when you're starting out, you're the manager, you're booking, you're doing everything at once. So I think, kind of like we were talking about baby steps before, and like just kind of sectioning it out, just be aware of all the things that you need to do and see what calls out to you. And again, getting help and bouncing ideas off of your community, bouncing ideas off of mentors and people who are experienced and are willing to give you some time. But yeah, it is definitely, it can be anyway, overwhelming, right?
It can be, but
Absolutely, yeah.
So there's a couple more questions that I want to get to, though. One in particular has to do with social media. And again, this is where I'm going to be picking your brain for advice, not just for aspiring artists out there, but also for ourselves, because we need some tips, like we're trying to grow our band, we're trying to grow our exposure and such. So I've learned real quick that social media is a tool, as much as it is for connecting and interacting with people, you can very much use it as a tool to try to promote yourself. How big has social media been to you as an artist? And which one's your favorite platform? Where do you excel in your social media game?
Okay. So the screen is only this big. I'll say it's very important to me. It's very huge, yeah. So I'll tell you why. As an artist, a lot of the opportunities that have come across for me to be able to get guidance from mentors, to be able to network with other artists, to be able to get gigs have actually come through social media. Me being a physician, I interact with my patients on a day-to-day basis in person. So sometimes that leaves me little room to be able to make that network. And social media is a huge platform for me for doing that. And I am on all social media platforms, but the number one platform that I found has worked for me is Instagram. I find a lot more engagement for me personally on there. I think it's because we are all in an Insta age. And on Instagram, you can, as long as you know how to do your post, you can catch somebody's attention very quickly. That's what I found. Like with Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, you can lose attention if you don't get to your audience in the first 5 to 10 seconds, because usually it's like a video or it's like a long post. Whereas for Insta, if you plan it out well, the picture or maybe it's just a caption or a quote catches their attention, and that draws your audience in fast, I find, like with Instagram. So Instagram has worked the best for me. And in terms of sorry.
Well, I was just about to say, like, on your feed, it's all different sorts of things, right? Like, it's not just music. We see some acting, we see some comedy, we see some dancing, we see some medical advice, we see your dog, we see just all different sorts of things there. Um, how do you plan what you're posting in? Do you need to have a certain amount of dog pictures a week? Do you have a certain amount of exercise? I
Dog
mean,
pictures always no. No, that speaks to me as an artist, as a brand. So it may not speak to everybody. My brand is what I call fusion, and fusion means a mix of different things. And this is part of me being the multifaceted artist. What I mean by that is, yes, I'm a vocalist, songwriter, musician foremost, but I am also a dancer and actor and TV host and radio host. So there's a lot of other sides to me. So that's part of my brand that I'm putting out there on social media. And it's interesting. I connect with different people on my different facets. And over time, I'm now unifying that group. So it's slowly changing where I'm finding that the vocalist part of me is able to get out my message more. I would love to use my passion towards, a voice for change. And I'm finding that the vocalist part of me is getting it out there more. So I'm still going to have the other facets to me. The postings will still be there, but there will always be a vocalist component. So the more recent posts I've done have been talking more about my vocalist side, but showcasing that I do have other facets to me. So that I find like it has intrigued the support, the followers I've got, because that intrigues them. Oh, she's got a lot of different sides. But over time, you will find that my social media platforms will come to a point where the vocalist will be the dominant and using that as a voice for change through the different facets that I have.
See, that's the plan that we're talking about here. We need to write this sort of stuff down.
I think Jodie's in the back room writing some notes. I think I saw her, right, Jodie? And she's got some notes.
Do you feel a pressure to post? Like, I know that we feel it a little bit. Like, if we go a few days and nothing's up there, we kind of feel it. Do you feel pressure to be posting frequently?
At this point of the game, no. When I initially started, I felt like, okay, I need to gain those followers. I need to post. But it's very interesting. There have been periods where I have not posted for a week, and then I do one powerful post, and suddenly I've gained a few followers.
Uh-huh.
So it is interesting. Sometimes you do a powerful post. You don't necessarily need to post every single day. Sometimes in the past, when I've posted every single day and they're not really meaningful, it's not impactful, then sometimes I lose followers as well, because they're like, probably like, okay, she's just bombarding us with some posts which have no unified theme. I've experienced that in the past. So right now I don't feel the pressure, because I think I have a clear vision I would say a clearer vision of what I want to do with my position as an artist. Right. So I don't feel the pressure to post, because I'd rather do a quality post rather quantity post.
Right. And I think it depends on your community as well, right? For instance, if we've got if you have a talk show and you have contests and you have things going on, you have to follow a bit of a structure. So that definitely makes sense to me. Before we get you out of here, I wanted to ask the question that we didn't even touch upon, and even in our notes we didn't even bring it up. But I wanted to know who are some women in music that actually inspire you and that are resonate with you. And
number one, Queen Bee, like Beyonce. Okay. The reason is I relate so much to her in terms of the goals we have as an artist is a voice for yourself. I mean, songs of hers like Freedom, Grown Woman, all those speak to me. And my vision is also to be able to have people empower themselves, to be able to be real. Go after your passions without, being afraid, because that's where true happiness lies. And I find like Beyonce does that a lot with her songs and also with all the activities that she does. Even the latest visual album that she has come out with, amazing. I mean, so she's number one for me. And I also look up to her. For me, she embodies woman empowerment. It comes down to being a person without being labeled, being put in a box just because you're a woman, just because you're a certain age. You need to look a certain way, you need to act a certain way. And she defies all that. And I really looked up to her for that. She's one. Second is Raja Kumari. She's actually becoming more well-known. She's actually a US rapper with South Asian roots.
Okay, cool.
She always used to be behind the scenes, being the songwriter, the producer, and now she's coming out with her stuff. She is powerful, man. You need to check her out. Raja Kumari, I love her. A few others are Lady Gaga. Again, she embodies that. She used to do a lot of pop music, almost like how we kind of hide behind a mask.
Yeah.
And now look at her. She's come through, but she's still so powerful, which tells you that if you put your message out the right way, it does not matter how you look. It does not matter how old you are. So I would say these are the top three for me.
Beautiful. Love it.
Yeah.
All right, well, we're going to get you out of here in a few minutes, but we just wanted to touch base on the track. We want to push some of your music. So there's a song that I know that we were talking behind the scenes a little bit about. So tell us a little bit about the song, and we want to give you a little bit of love on it.
Awesome. Thank you so much for helping me put my message out there. The song is called New Me, and it talks about my vision, as we have just spoken about. It's about getting trapped in expectations. It's part of my experience growing up, where you heed to others' expectations, and then you have false expectations of yourself. And then you go into this vicious cycle of just getting trapped in a box. And I've been through that, where I've then went through a phase of depression, overfeeding, obese, and it just went through a whole vicious cycle. And what I have gone through in my life, and realizing that in the end, I am my own boss, listen to me, and then things will change around, which is exactly what happened to me. So that's
Beautiful.
What the song is about. New me, let go of expectation. This is the new me. Take it or leave it.
Beautiful.
Yeah, I remember that in the lyric video. I saw that. And where can people find that? We've got your Instagram linked at the Real Abiti. But where else can they connect with you, people that want to chat?
So the song is out on Spotify, which is just my name, Abhiti. Yes, you can hit me up on Instagram. I also respond to Facebook, which is Abhiti.
Okay.
And you can check me out at YouTube. There's a lyric video out for New Me. And next month, there's a music video releasing for New Me.
Really cool.
So you can check it out there as well.
Beautiful.
So when we repost this later on YouTube, in the description, we'll have a link there too, so that people can click that to go to your video.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Awesome. Well, I wish we had more time for you. We're running a little bit short. Maybe we can have you back in a future episode one day, because this is a lot of fun, and it seems like you have a lot of good, insightful information to share with us. So we want to thank you for joining us today.
Yeah,
thank you so much, Dante. Thank you so much, Vivek. And thank you so much, Jody, my woman, empowered woman behind the scenes.
They say behind every good man, there's a better woman or something, right? So that's
behind every successful man, there's a strong woman. I put it that way.
For sure. No,
I kind of paraphrased it.
No, definitely. We appreciated you spending your Sunday with us. Thank you so much for your time. And we'll catch you soon, and we'll keep updating on you. We'll get you back in.
All right.
Thank you so much for all that you do. Thank you.
All right.
Take care. Okay, have a great night.
You too.
Awesome. That was fantastic.
Let's
get Jody in here real quick. So let's shout out one more time to Abhiti for joining us. And OV, you're going to have Jody join out here. We have a couple more things that we want to bring you guys up to speed on before we head on out the door.
Yeah, let's do it. Here is Jody.
Hey, what's up, Jody? Jody, how'd you like the interview there?
That was awesome. I've had the pleasure of meeting Abhiti and seeing her perform as well. And I always knew like she had so many layers to herself and different parts. But hearing her talk about it and just how she really manages to do so many things, and hearing her encourage people to do that and just make time was pretty special to see. So yeah, that was great.
Yeah, I saw you writing notes. Were you writing notes?
A little bit. I was.
Okay, I know you.
Yeah,
That's fine. I thought you were good.
Inspired.
that I know, you're so awesome for that. Like you always are taking notes and always absorbing things. So we really appreciate you. For people that don't know, Jody is part of our Humble and Hungry team, the Humblist team as well. And she does all the creative design work. So you might not see her. She recently has been on camera doing the questions of the week. So we're trying to incorporate her a little bit more. She is like Abithi, a woman of multiple talents. She's a musician. She's an artist, a graphic artist, and a healer, an energy healer as well.
Yeah.
So
talented, yeah.
She's ambidextrous. No, are you ambidextrous? No, I don't know. But she's also very special to us too. So, Joe, while you're here, and we asked Abithi, just quickly because we don't have too much time. But what are some women that impact you and inspire you in the music industry?
So many really. But today and everybody you guys have talked about as well. Like I love everybody. Today I was trying to remember the name of this woman, and then finally I started Googling it and it came back to me, and I wanted to mention her because I don't know how many people have heard about her, but Rosetta Tharpe was like a queer Black woman in the 40s who was like playing before like Elvis and Little Richie and Johnny Cash. So I thought she's an important person to mention because talking about people paving the way like to like rock and roll and like soul. So yeah, and I was listening to her a little bit earlier. And then some more contemporary musicians would be like Alicia Keys, Lady Gaga.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome selections, Jody, for sure. And the other reason that Jody is here is because we have a contest to announce.
Time to announce a winner.
Yeah,
So,
I hope the winner's watching. I don't think they might not be, but
we don't know. We don't know who the
winner is. A later date for sure they'll be watching. This is recorded, right? So
thanks for everybody that participated. This is our first shot at a contest here. So, Jules, I know you got a bunch of names in the hat. Do you want to show us what they're winning here?
So we have in here some Humble and Hungry merch. The first of its kind, really, aside from some buttons. So it's a tank top.
Nice.
Very beautiful. Designed by Jody, yeah.
Black, medium tank top. And it says Humble and Hungry. It's nice and bright colors for summer.
Beautiful.
So this is what we're giving away.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And the winner...
it's in a hat. We've got a number of people in there. That's good.
Yep. So, okay. The winner is...
Drum roll.
Ed Stingle.
Ed Stingle. Awesome. Ed, he's part of the Humble and Hungry Facebook group. So
oh, beautiful. So Ed,
awesome.
this is for you.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I'll definitely, announce that we're announcing it now, but I'll do it in written form as well. So thank you, Jody, and thank you, Ed.
Thank you, everybody that participated there. We're looking to have more of these things in the future, and I know we're just quickly wrapping up, but there's one big thing that we want to push now is that we have a contest, and either a contest or a charity. We're still trying to workshop it, but it all has to do with my man V there.
Oh, yeah.
Put it on below. Can you put it up below?
Oh, yeah. Sorry. So, Jody, I'm going to have to say peace to you so I can put this up. Right. Thank you for joining us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, Jodes.
Right.
And so he wants to see it. What do we have?
Let's see it.
Whoa! I guess it's official now. I've been toying with the idea for like a week and a half, so like just people can see my long hair.
Yeah, he's got the long hair.
Fun form right now.
Wow. So he's going to make a big step here, and he's going to shave his head. Now, we might do this in the form of a contest. We want to maybe think about doing some sort of charity incorporation. We're just workshopping some ideas, so stay tuned for that. But we need you guys to get involved with this. Don't let Dave do this for no reason. We need you guys to get involved with this. So please, we encourage that strongly this week.
On top of, hopefully, I think my hair is really long. It's like down to here. It's like definitely able to be donated to cancer patients. So I'm going to do that for sure. So that's one thing. And then, maybe we double down on the cancer
maybe
support.
We send the winner like a lock of your hair or something like that.
Well, I don't know if people want it. Like, trust me, it's not. Well, I'll definitely have to properly treat it. But what we'll do is Well, definitely, we'll entertain some ideas on how to get a charitable cause. One thought that crossed my mind was the Unison Fund, supporting musicians in this, especially in this COVID time. A lot of artists and like the music community hasn't had the support, but there's other ideas, and our Humblist team and the Humble and Hungry team will brainstorm some ideas. If you guys have some ideas, if our listeners have some ideas, drop them in the chat. And this is going to be probably transpiring over a couple weeks, right? Okay. So, yeah.
Beautiful. So stay tuned. We're going to have more posts about that in the coming weeks. Next week, we got another big show. It's going to be 80s theme next week. And
our favorite 80s.
More importantly, we got a new track being debuted by my man here. So that's exciting times too.
Yeah, tons of exciting times. And we're just trying to keep the content fresh, right? This week was Women in Music Who Empower. Next week is 80s. And we're going to try and bring some more guests. We're in talks to have some really great guests and really good people to give some more content and valuable information to our listeners.
Beautiful. Well, on that note, let's take our leave, V. We hope everyone out there enjoys your Sunday afternoon. What's rest of it? Thank you very much for joining us here on the Humblist. Stay tuned for all of our updates on social media and all of our posts. Thank you to Abithi. Thank you to Jody. Thank you to my man V for being with me all the time.
Thank you, sir.
And we'll see you all next week.
Yes, and don't forget to check out those artists that we listed, and of course, check out Abithi. And have a great Sunday, y'all.
We'll see you soon.
Peace. All right, peace.